Today I want to show you how I use pastels to make a painting. I also want to show you the type of pastels I use. I basically use three types. I use hard pastels made by New Pastel. I use soft pastels made by Rembrandt. And I also use soft pastels made by Giraud to make my paintings. Now there are basically two strokes that I use to complete all my paintings, and I'm going to demonstrate those for you right now. You want to sand the edge. This is a light gray pastel. You want to sand it on your sandpaper till you have a smooth edge like this, and you want to make sure you wipe it off so that the dust comes off. Then you lightly crosshatch on your paper, and you let the paper pull the pastel off. You don't want to press too hard. The operative word here is light, until we get this beautiful center area here that's evenly colored. That way we can add lots of layers of color. Let's add another color on top. I'm going to add a blue. So I'm going to sand off the blue on my sandpaper. And by the way, this is 150 grit sandpaper. I'm going to wipe it off. Then I'm going to lightly add another layer on top. Like so. The Giraud pastel can be used the same way. Sand it off. This pastel, I love these pastels. They're slightly softer than the Rembrandt. That's not true. They're harder than the Rembrandt, but still softer than the New Pastel. I'm going to do the same thing. Always cross-hatching and letting the paper pull off the color. Now let's turn our attention to the New Pastel sticks. These are great. They come in a variety of colors. They're very hard. They come in this square shape. Many of you who've attended my classes notice that that mine have points, like this. Now I sharpen these to make it easier to get into little tiny places, and I've also found it makes it easier for students. So I'm going to show you now how to sharpen these and what kind of sharpener I use. This is my sharpener brand. It's an M&R, made in Germany. You can find these online very easily. They're very affordable. You can even get replacement blades. It has two holes in it. A smaller hole for your pencils and a larger hole, which are perfect for the New Pastel. So I'm going to show you how to sharpen one of those. I'm going to put the pastel into the sharpener. But I'm going to hold it loosely, like this, and at an angle. You don't want to force it because it's not going to work. You want to just put it in and then start to turn it. And let the pastel find its way in. As you can see, this is really at an angle. So I keep doing this until I get a perfect point like this, okay? Which is great for those little places. Now the other stroke I use when painting is a very fine stroke. Done with the New Pastels. But I sharpen them. And by that I mean, I sharpened these to a point, but these I'm going to sharpen another way. I'm going to put it on the block. I'm going to hold it perpendicular to the block and go back and forth holding it near the bottom, otherwise you'll break your pastel, until it's totally flat, and I have 4 sharp edges. And this is how I get the fur that you see in the animals that I draw. So I want to hold this to the paper at a 45-degree angle. Like so. Remember, when you're doing fur, that it grows out of the central point. I can also use I can do single strokes. If I press harder, I get a brighter color. I can use a zigzag stroke if I don't want them to be too prominent. Some areas of your painting you don't. And when all 4 edges are dull, I go back and sharpen it again. Like so. Be sure and wipe it off so you don't get dust on your painting. Now let's put these things into practice and paint an ear on a wolf.